Good day. Today I am in, well, south of Nanaimo on the Extension Ridge Trail. It's a beautiful 24 degrees. A little bit warm when you're walking, but we'll take it. Nice day to be in the forest. And I'm climbing a hill here, so I'm a little huffy and puffy. They've been having a relatively normal summer in that the temperatures are in kind of the average range. The one problem they have had is not a lot of snowpack in the winter, so fire hazard is at extreme. So I thought I'd give this trail a shot, see where we get. I've spent a fair amount of time in Nanaimo in my lifetime, but this year and last year are the first times I've really gone into kind of the backwoods, if you will. Oh, love that nice foresty smell here. Nice little sitting area with a most excellent view. When you get out here and start hiking around, you forget that this is an island with some of the views you get, but I mean, Vancouver Island is like 450 kilometers long and 100 kilometers wide, so it's not a little tiny island out in the ocean. And overall there's about 900,000 to 1 million people living on the island. So it's got all the amenities and services, but you just forget you're on an island. Kids on dirt bikes went rolling through here. Not quite sure that is expected or allowed through here, but could be a shared use path. I'm not aware. I didn't really do a lot of research. So I'll be mindful of whatever may come along the trail. With the elevation changes and tree roots and solid rock, I'd probably put this at a moderate hike. If you're not into climbing hills, this one may not be for you. We don't let that stop us though, right? And in Mundane Man fashion, I really didn't check a trail map or anything, but I thought it was a relatively short trail. 2.5 kilometers kind of rings a bell, but I can't remember now. I'm not sure what this is. It looks like a little shrine or something. People have left trinkets and stuff. My wife and I have often pondered about moving out here in retirement. Every time we're out here, it's like, should we? Could we? Can we afford it? And when you look at the cost of housing and everything in comparison to where we are, it is significantly higher. Probably about 30 to 40% higher on Vancouver Island in general. And I think I've spoke of this before in previous videos when we were out here last year. And even though real estate has softened a bit, it's still pretty expensive. So we have grand designs and plans in our retirement to do certain things like RVing and other travel. So a sacrifice would have to be made to live out here. And that sacrifice would probably be making this our lifestyle. And this would be the place we would travel around instead of traveling to other places. With the odd off-island trip, of course, but you know, definitely would restrict us financially to be out here. So it really becomes a financial decision, but also a lifestyle decision. With the advantages here around weather, much moderate temperatures, especially in the winter. But is that everything? So again, we're out here thinking, should we, could we? Missing the trail here. I'm sure we could. At what sacrifice? I'm already going to be carrying a mortgage into retirement. So what does it matter if it's a bigger mortgage? But, you know, most of our kids are in Alberta, and all of our activities and relationships are pretty much in Alberta. So that's another thing you have to consider that you're moving away from. And especially when you have aging parents, it's a little bit easier. Or even, you know, we made a conscious decision to be nearby until they're no longer with us. So, you know, we've kind of set roots in Alberta, and I think that's where we'll end up staying. Have the cheaper standard of living, and then just utilize the beauty of BC when we want to go see it. Until we're driving home and going, can we do it? Should we do it? We keep going through that every year. But then every year we keep coming back to the same conclusion. Stay where we are, and then just travel here on a as wanted basis. Absorb the beauty and then go home. This is my first recorded walk in quite a while. I've been more active at work and getting in the steps there, and then the odd time just taking a short evening walk around the neighborhood. So nothing all that exciting. Other than the guys on dirt bikes, it has been a zero population walk so far. Big power poles in their natural habitat. Big transmission lines going up the mountain. Even though I'm sweating like crazy, it does feel just dry in here. Pretty sure I noted that last year too, but last year was probably 7 or 8 degrees hotter. So from a temperature perspective, this is quite comfortable, despite the sweat. Which reminds me, that's another thing I've started to do as well, is ride my bike sometimes in the evening instead of walking. Just provides some exercise and keeps me moving. Lately I've had trouble with that. The moving part, that is. Too easy to stay home and drink wine. Despite that placard having bullet holes on it, it is part of the Trans-Canada Trail. Should really look at a map, because that Trans-Canada Trail seems to go all over the place in many different directions. It's neat to see the same thing here as I've seen in my walks in central Alberta. Now, I didn't really check a trail map for here, and my son-in-law mentioned this yesterday, this extension trail. And then my wife looked it up too and said, oh, you should go do this one. It was kind of like, happy anniversary, and I'll go take a hike. Well, she's just trying to make sure I get to do what I want to do on our holiday while she sits and knits with the daughter. So I'm really not sure if I get to a point and come back, or I'll just have to stop and turn around, which, you know, is not our mantra. We like to make loops. Bit better view of the harbor there. You see a ferry coming in over there, and then there's a ship over there. Another crevice ahead somewhere here. Just a small one, but it's deep. Oh, never mind. If that piqued your interest, look at this one. It's a crevasse. It's almost like some kind of fault line. Oh, it looks like it goes down a few meters too. Well, that's interesting. You can see how big that crevasse or fissure is. Well, I'm going to backtrack because apparently you can make a 9-kilometer loop, but I'm already 3 into it, and it'll be another hour to get back, and I've got things to do today. So that crevice was about 3 kilometers into the trail and is called the Abyss. At the start, or fairly early on in the trail, there was another crevice that I couldn't see on their webpage that had a name. That there's a reminder that we're just walking on a great big rock that somehow trees grow out of. Well, I'm just going to stop here and have a little snack and a rest and some water. Somebody notched out some chairs here. And let's enjoy the view. That was a nice little rest. Well, we're on the downside of our little hike here. These trees are interesting because they were just hanging on by a thread by their roots on the rock. And then the wind must have said, no, you're out. Even though I noticed how dry it is out here, I did see that the spruce trees still managed to have some growth this year. And these trees always intrigue me too. I don't know what they are, but the way they peel their bark off and then there's this green layer underneath. What kind of tree is that? They are quite prolific in this area. There are all kinds of them. And then that's almost, you know, smooth as silk. Cool. Earworm of the day. Ella Langley, choosing Texas. Or choosing Texas. That one's been floating around in my head all day, but you know what? They are playing that song to death. Even on my random YouTube super mix on YouTube Music, that one pops up all the time too. I hope people don't start hating her because that song is just on over and over again. I will have to say, the peace and quiet quota out here is 10 out of 10. There has been some minor human noise where they were developing a site down the bottom of the hill there a while back, and the odd seaplane flying over, but overall it is quiet as a mouse out here. Not sure if you can see it from up here, but somebody's got a ladder propped up there. Well, I wouldn't want to slip and fall down there. Well, most of this return trip has been downhill, which is sort of appreciated, but my knees are not too happy about it. This is like a creek bed here that we walked up originally, but coming down it's a little dicey getting traction on this sand and rocks. They do call this a moderate trail, but in some places I think it's even kind of difficult. Depends on where you're at with your hiking experience. Some nice flat ground now to give my knees and ankles a rest. Well, here we are at the start of the trail again, and we did 7.35 kilometers in 2 hours and 12 minutes. Not the greatest pace, but the up and down elevation changes certainly added to the workout. And it also turned out to be 12,000 steps as well. So a good walk for today. We haven't had a walk like this in a long time. And I feel good about today because even after not, being consistent with my walking, I was still able to get in that 7+ kilometers and 12,000 steps without too much issue. And going up and down the hills did not pose a problem. So I'm happy with that. Until the next one.